Fantastic. Let's get the stream started and send out a little bit of links and figure out how well today will go with the stream. I'm hoping that it'll go all right and that people will come to chat. There's been a lot of interesting developments going on lately in both series and in the manga anime news, and I look forward to chatting with everybody about it and just kind of figuring out what people's thoughts are on everything. I don't know how many people are covering or kind of following it, and it, how many people are completely unaware of what's going on. And I think that that is going to be a very interesting kind of piece of just seeing what people think about this. What's up, full custom hot dog? Do you like any of the characters in the Jump Force DLC leak? It hasn't been confirmed, but it's just what they believe. I'm hoping that Kaiba is correct, but I'm also really wanting some of them not to be true. But I do. If all of those are correct, I'll be happy at least that Kaiba's in it. What's up, Sephiroth Crescent? Yeah, oh my god, fucking Cryokin times 20. Jean Chamel is pretty freaking hysterical. I did think that was great. Can't believe that he's. I can't believe he locked his Twitter and then because people called him a beta male and he all said he's what a pussy. Like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know how he's being so sensitive. One second. Let me make real quick a post on Twitter for the link. I don't know. I would love to see. I would love to see what exactly kind of transpires from this. I think that a lot of the people kind of going against Vic are going to be really regretting some of their posts and probably really feeling it in their wallets. Obviously, that's just speculation. There hasn't been any concrete. There's been no concrete proof against Vic. But there's nothing so far really to say everyone is lying. I think he's innocent. My belief that he's innocent, but obviously, until otherwise proven, he will be. And if it comes out that he's guilty and evidence is provided that he's guilty, then that'll be a different story. Like people are 100% like fine of going against like putting criminals down, but they don't want to just believe everyone is bad, especially somebody who's in reality has a really good reputation around him, like Vic Mignogna. People don't want to just say, well, because of some random rumors they've heard online and stuff that have absolutely no backing and no evidence behind it, that it's they just have to believe it. They just have to accept it based off nothing, which is ridiculous. Yeah, there's so much kind of like people revealed what they're really like under this. Like Chris Sabat, uh, definitely him. You can tell that he is 100% fine with this all going down. He doesn't have any form of skepticism. He doesn't have any form of belief of innocent until proven guilty. Like he's 100% just saying, well, screw him, let him go down. If Monica Real said it, well, I guess I have to believe it. And stupidly enough, for him, he's just making people look at him, and people are now looking through his history, trying to look at his Twitters and whatnot. And the idiot, I actually had a confrontation with him very shortly, very briefly earlier this week, and it pretty much resulted with him blocking me on Twitter. And I was pointing out on a tweet, he was saying how telling someone to go die in their sleep is not proper dialogue. It's not good dialogue, but telling them to shut up and calling them a faggot is. And I was pointing out, like, why are these people not mentioning the fact that he's in the conversation, he's literally saying this is okay to use homophobic slurs, but And he then comes to the tweet and he says, "Well, the context of it, you don't know the context." But he deleted a bunch of stuff. He deleted a whole bunch of stuff off of his Twitter. And if it's so easy to prove that it's correct, and you know you have to look at the context, and he's not actually doing it, he's kind of like saying it in some ironic way. Why would he delete all the posts? I'm willing to believe that he. Obviously, I can't prove this. I'm willing to believe that he went through his Twitter and searched keywords and just deleted anything in mass that could come back to him and look bad. I mean, like, why else would you if something would? It'd be perfectly fine if you had any link to context, because once you delete all the context and everything leading up to it, the screenshot is just going to be the screenshot. I mean, it's ridiculous that you would come up with that as your excuse. And then just the meltdowns on some of these people, Monica Rial coming off as a complete and total moron in a lot of these areas. I actually laughed because there was somebody on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, it's either yesterday or Thursday, that was trying to claim, just saying something to Monica Rial, and Monica was like saying how she looked at his Twitter and was trying to demean him because I didn't look at his Twitter account, but it's something about porn. And I'm like, she's played, I don't remember which of the two characters from one of the two mains from Panty and Stocking, and then she was Anna from Shimonita. And Panty and Stocking and Shimonita are both literally just fan service and sex jokes. Both of those series, they're entertaining, but you can't be like a key player on that, on one of a series like that, and then try and talk down to somebody for, well, I don't know what exactly he's doing, but what, like porn? She just was like, go back to your porn. Or it's like, why? You seem completely force stuff like that if you're voicing characters in series like this. It's coming off as pretty hypocritical. Some of the responses from them just seem extremely childish, and the fact that so much there's so much disbelief around the whole thing, from acts of the people on the Kick Vic side. I haven't seen any of the alleged threats from the Stand with the Vic people. Obviously, I don't condone anyone to go after and like threaten people online. Like, you can do like a joke thing, like, you know, fight me IRL, but like if you're coming off as like actually trying to incite violence over what, Twitter jokes, or even like a not fun confrontation with somebody on Twitter, then don't do that. But you have on the Kickvic side, you have Mars Girl, who allegedly knew and covered up one of her coworkers sexually assaulting somebody, like underage girls, and having child porn. You have Jamie Marchi, who I believe is currently being taken to court over sexual assault claims. I haven't looked enough into that. I just know it's a thing. And you have, I believe that one. I want to look more into it because from what I understand, she's being pulled from conventions because people are bringing it up. And you have, what's her name, Jesse Pridemore or whatever, who tried to get Todd Habercorn arrested because he didn't want to be anyway associated with her after like hooking up with her and finding out she's crazy. So she tried to claim that he raped her, and then it just her story completely fell apart, and she came to look like an absolute psycho. And those are the people on that side. And when you're kind of like big front runners in a movement are wackadoos, liars, and scummy people, no one's gonna believe you. And who are the people really leading like Vic? You know, you got a lot of the big voices, but I think one of the major ones, uh, Nick Rekieta, who was at Yonko Productions, was trying to claim that he was scamming people on a GoFundMe. Yeah, the lawyer whose public name and like link to who he is, and you can look up his law degree. Yeah, that guy's totally trying to scam 100 grand off of a GoFundMe. It was absolutely retarded. And especially from someone like Yonko Productions, who, when you're trying to, like, after people like called him out and be like, you know, this dude's a lawyer, and then he went back, found a picture where he and his, like, he went to a costume party and he dressed up like a black guy, but they went over and like with a black guy explaining like the difference between blackface and just dressing up like a black guy. Like there was like a whole topic about it, but it was also before he was a lawyer, and clearly he's not a racist. Like like what was it? Like he regularly has streams with one of his friends who he's known forever, and like who's not just a black guy. That guy is fucking. I guess he's like 6'8". He's huge, but nothing about him comes off as being a racist. Like it's super silly, and I think it's hilarious that someone likes. Well, no, he was trying to discredit them. He was trying to discredit Nick Rekieta and the Stand with Vic people. I mean, he's already very much made it clear that he doesn't like Vic Mignogna, and he is fully on board with him getting kicked off. And I think it's ridiculous that Yonko Productions was trying to wage morals with somebody when he only has any form of backing and like internet fame because he illegally leaks manga online. Like, listen, I don't really care. Like, I can't stop people from reading illegal leaks. I can't stop people from talking about illegal leaks. I can't stop people from making videos and blogs, posts, and whatever about it. Like, whatever. But if you're the one doing it, you know you're breaking the law. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to come after you. I don't know how it is. I know it's bad. A big thing over in Japan. I don't know where Yonko Production lives, but it doesn't seem like it's some big sought after like and hunted down thing outside of Japan. I think China, but you know what you're doing. You're taking money away from these people, and you're the one like doing it, and then you're trying to wage morals on somebody because like 20 years ago uh, he went to a costume party with his friend who's like a giant black dude, and he dressed up as a black guy, and clearly nobody there gave a shit. Like I feel like if it was so offensive and he was there to like ridicule, that black dude would just beat the shit out of him. But it doesn't seem to be the case. Like I really doubt. I really doubt like it was some form of malicious intent or anything. It's very goofy, but I gotta. It's just what's up, anime Vortex? How's it going? Yeah, I'm trying. Like I said, I'm trying to get them more around the same time, either on Saturday or Sunday, because I work. I work every weekday, and then I have Saturday and Sunday off. So we can get more of a set and scheduled, like a frequent one, so you at least know like it when if you have the time every week, just based off of around the same time in one of those days. Let's see. Did you hear about Monica's tweet about the stuff Vic did to her and her apparently being raped as a teen? The thing about Monica Rial and all these people is they have no evidence. They're not able to give locations, times. It's all starting to really fall apart from under them. Because if you've seen Mars Girl, she said that he grabbed her by the back of the hair and like pulled her at in the Funimation lobby. Like, I don't know how you'd be able to do. Like, people point out, like, it's a major company. How is there nobody else in the lobby? How would the receptionist not be there? And because apparently she screamed at him, but she also doesn't remember what he said when he allegedly pulled her in, and then said something in her ear. She has no idea, but she remembers what she said. She remembers where it was, but apparently no one was around. No cameras either. It just doesn't, like, none of these people have any form of evidence. They don't have any form of time, locations, dates. They don't have anything other than shut up and believe. Yeah, I'm going to do a video on the Funimation thing because that is absolutely ridiculous. And it's really starting to make Vic look innocent. It all looks like it's some form of big damage control, and they're absolutely just trying to essentially get rid of him and smear him to look bad so all the people that will be mad about it aren't going to be mad about it. Because also one of the things, I knew of the incident, but I didn't know who was behind it. So there was the swatting where apparently somebody called the police station and said that they pretty much set up this person get swatted, and like the police kicked her door down and raided her house. And then on the phone call, the people who did it, while saying like, whatever they said to the police, like at the end of it said they stand with Vic and then hung up. And then the person who said it, and when it was revealed that the swatting was fake. Those pictures were like 3 years old and on her Facebook because she's a fucking moron and didn't think to get rid of the pictures in the post that people could just look at, considering that all they had to do was look up her name on like her couple social media accounts. And the person who did it is one of Funimation's employees that were on the investigative team that apparently investigated Vic. And so now, allegedly, why would anyone believe? Sorry, I fumbled on my words there. Why would anyone believe these alleged claims and this alleged investigation when they did an investigation on him? I believe it was over the summer of last year. They found it. The investigation came up inconclusive. All of a sudden, Jamie or Mars Girl gets involved, and she says, "I think it's time to do something about Vic," and then mentions or ties in at Funimation. Another investigation happens shortly after one that just happened, and then somehow he gets fired. And one of the people who apparently did it is proving to be a liar and dishonest and fakes crimes and evidence. So why should anyone believe her? Why should anyone believe these people? They're absolutely full of shit. They can't prove anything they're saying. They're lying. They're making up and staging crimes to get people on their side. And now, for those who haven't seen the Funimation thing, Funimation has edited it so if you go to unsubscribe to them on their pay service, the link on the unsubscribe button, the cancel subscription button, doesn't work. So they will make it so you can't stop paying them if you are already giving them money. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely dishonest. It just shows that they have absolutely zero integrity. They don't care. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about how the fans feel. They're literally making it so if you are upset and unhappy with them, they don't give a shit enough to make it so you can say, I don't want to give them money anymore. I don't want to support them anymore. They're forcing people essentially to stay. They're making it so they're unable to, which is one of the most disgusting like business things like I've seen like outside of a large scale incident. This is just underhanded and disgusting. Like this isn't like some huge crime of what they're doing with their like make it so you can't cancel the subscription service. So it's childish, and it just comes off as they don't care about any of the people. They don't care about any of the employees. All they care about is that they make money off you, and not from a means that you like them. They're pretty much making it so you have to. And if they catch you, they aren't letting you go. You aren't given any free will after that point. Like I feel like you would either have to call in to them and cancel it, or call your bank and say, make sure this doesn't go through. They aren't like, and explain the situation. Like I'm actually curious if there would be any form of legal trouble around that, because that doesn't seem like it'd be legal. I don't know. I would actually really like to ask Nick Ricada next time he does a stream. If anybody doesn't ask, and if I don't remember to ask, somebody bring that up. That's actually really interesting, and it's absolutely it just paints out the picture of that entire side. And why would anyone believe anything they say when all this is happening and they have no proof, they don't provide any evidence, and all the people over there are already proven scum or proving now that they're scum? It's silly, and yeah, and what's funny now though is a lot of them are panicking and scrubbing up their Twitters and locking up their social media and trying as much damage control as possible, since it's official now that Vic is taking legal actions. And again, if you believe that you were correct, you believe that he is doing what he's doing, you believe that you're on the right side, why would you then go and start deleting all this stuff you've said, all this stuff that you've put out, unless you are afraid of facing the consequences? I mean, why else? I'm excited because for those who watched Nick Arcade's stream yesterday, He did one last night where he and his friend like talked over the whole thing, and he didn't say who, he didn't say the law firm or the name of the lawyer. All he said is that the person that Vic got is like a big deal in this category and knows like he seems to be some form of like champion of the fucking of this of the cases like this, and that he knows exactly what's like how this guy's going to take this entire case, and it just seems really hyped up. Like he seems like this guy's going to be a big deal, and it's looking good for Vic. And the fact that now after all this, all these people are starting to panic, and they're starting to do like PSA like tweet videos that try and get people on their side. It's not looking good for them. It's not looking good for them at all. Yeah, Chris Sabat. Chris Sabat is he's showing his true colors. He's showing what you don't see on interviews. He's showing what he won't show you at panels, and it looks ugly. I was actually was it Sunny Straight or whatever, the guy who does Krillin, when I pointed out the video where he makes like all those jokes about like stalking and molesting and raping children. He's like, you have to understand the context. Like, they're saying that how they were making fun of the idea of like saying all these bad things and making it very misleading, and they were doing it in order to make fun of Vic, and while at the same time they were making fun of his religion. And I'm not religious. I'm not really religious at all. I'm pretty I'd say that I'm open to a lot of religious ideas, but I don't really belong to any religion. I'm not huge into the large scale kind of like ways a lot of religions go about what they do. But why would you how in any way are you going to try and justify like for one, there's no proof against Vic. You're trying to be like, you have to understand the context. We're just trying to we're making fun of him. We're smearing this guy who clearly we don't just kind of tease for jokes. Clearly they're out against him, and he making fun of an entire religion of people. Like what? I mean, it's silly. Like you can try and when the people I would say like if you tried to make fun of maybe something that a religion has done in the past, something that is ridiculous, whether it was bad or just kind of silly. You're poking fun at history. You're not poking fun at the idea of it in general, which is a whole different case. Like if I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but it's really the gap between making fun of something particular, an isolated incident, or something of the idea of something goofy versus the ideology behind it. And I think that's pretty messed up. It's pretty bad. Yeah, I've already said that. I don't really care at this point with Ruby enough to really want to give them my money, because they're showing that they weren't willing to stand by him at any point until he's proven guilty. If it was we're going to stand by Vic until anything that will actually validate these claims, that'd be one thing. Like that's understandable. That's what the people that are standing with Vic are saying. It's like we are going to stand by him and believe he's innocent until something actually proves that he's not. Then that'd be one thing. But the Rooster Teeth just threw him to the curb. And I've said before, Crow, like my favorite characters. I've got out of all of them, Crow is probably number one. He's got a great personality. He's got a cool fighting style. He's got a cool weapon. He's got a great design. He's got a really interesting aspect to him. Like you have this character who's really powerful, and you went through this whole last volume for volume 6, and it's like, well, they had all these times where he could have been more useful, but because of stuff that happened early on, he was he wasn't being defeated by he wasn't being defeated by his like somebody more powerful, or like what was it in volume 4 where he was poisoned. He was being defeated by his own alcoholism. His dependency on alcohol was really getting to him, and he's got one of the most interesting characters in the story. He's got all these ties all the setup um, in between the start of the story and like leading up to that lore, and like when Cinder went and took the maiden's powers from Amber, and all this other stuff, and just like his relationship with Raven. There's some mystery behind him. I've seen the theories of like potentially he's Ruby's actual dad. Like there's a whole bunch of interesting stuff behind him theory wise, but also interesting stuff in the story around him. And just like he's a really cool character. And one of the things that also helps him tie it off, like, is the fact that Vic Mignogna is so talented and such a good voice actor, and he fits the role really well. But like, it's hurting probably the best character in the series, getting rid of. I can guarantee you hold a poll of everybody in that does that series. The only competition that Vic would have is what's her name, Jessica Negri, because she's super hot and she's got a big fanboy like following. But Vic Mignogna is like the guy for dubbed anime. Like I've said before, my favorite Vic isn't my favorite anime dub. My favorite is Dan Green, but I acknowledge that Vic is the most popular. Like I said the same thing about for those who don't know, I'm a big fan of the Power Ranger series of the lore. Um, Jason David Frank, and who plays Tommy Oliver, the original Green Ranger. He's the original Sixth Ranger. He's not my favorite, but he's the guy for the fandom. Uh, out of all the mangas, my favorite is Fairy Tail, but I know that One Piece is the biggest. Like, there's a whole gap between personal favorites and acknowledging straight up facts. And when you get rid of the guy voicing the best character, which potentially could hurt his character in the series, because what are they going to do with them after this? They could easily write him out of the show because, like, they could use this as like a chance, an excuse to kill him off and like try and build some emotional weight, which is not going to go well given the circumstances. And like, I have no reason to stand by them. I would much rather now at this point wait for volume 7 to be over and pirate it off of somewhere online, because I have absolutely no reason to support them anymore. Why would I support them if they aren't going to support people that work for them, that that have only rumors and claims against them, no proof? Like it's completely messed up, and it just goes to show the lack of believing anybody on a human and like side of law. Like obviously, if it wasn't for all this stuff, kind of like all this debacles of all the Kick Vic people and all these companies, if it was just people are coming out for it, and it's starting to actually pick up, and they're saying that going to take legal action, and they want Funimation and all these places to do about it. I would 100%. This is what I would say. I would say innocent until proven guilty, but I'm gonna wait and just watch. I wouldn't, if it wasn't for all the clear snakery, or really I want to say goblinery. Like these people aren't snakes. They aren't cool. The snakes are badass animals. These guys are disgusting goblins and like fucking basement trolls and absolutely just nasty, semi-human. If it wasn't for the fact that they were all instead, essentially, it looks like they want to push him to over the edge. They want to push him to killing himself. It just looks like they will never be satisfied until he's not on the planet anymore. But like I would have 100% been fine just watching. I would have been 100% just fine, like waiting for evidence, seeing how it goes in court, seeing if it ever actually goes anywhere, and just sat on the belief of I'm not gonna participate. I will be a bystander and give my opinion when any evidence or anything changes. But at this point, like, there's so many people that needed to come out and say that they were going to side with Vic, because otherwise it was just going to be this hate mob. And it was absolutely disgusting, the fact that, like, I think it's silly that, I think it's goofy that they need this we're here for him side, not for to say, hey, we believe Vic, we believe innocent until proven guilty. It's because they have to balance out the hate mob, or it's just going to look bad for him in general. And it's this outrage culture around it. It's really splitting a lot of communities apart, and it's going to affect conventions in the future. It's going to affect like anime dubs overall. And I actually pointed out something I thought was hilarious. in a kind of like overthought of all these SJWs that are clearly in Funimation and stuff, the fact that they're trying to preach like morals and all this stuff and beliefs when all they do is dub over a product from a country that created these products that hate SJWs and think that they're morons. Like all these super hard like frail people, frail emotion snowflake crybabies, like they're the people that are making the stuff that all they're doing is reading a script and putting a dub over where they're a lot of them don't change their voice, a lot of them aren't putting that much emotion into it, and then trying to push these ideas and the money that like the majority of the money going from all that from the brand name that they're associated with is going to people that think their ideas are stupid, which is pretty funny. Yeah, like, that's what I was saying. Like we can't call them snakes because snakes are cool. These guys are goblins. They're disgusting, and we know what we do with goblins. Yeah, I was talking about a little earlier. Elric is just Funimation. Like clearly they don't know how to handle this. Like I would love to see how many people are unsubbing. Like people were like, I think it was 500 and something within a week over 500 comments, just comments in that whole High Guardian Spice thing when Crunchyroll announced that. But Funimation is doing so bad they have to make it impossible almost for you to be able to cancel your account. And yeah, it's really sad because I don't want Funimation as an idea to die out. I still want there to be dubs because obviously it's jobs for people. Some people prefer dubs. I just prefer the source material most of the time. I'm pretty much almost always going to prefer the manga, and then it depends on the anime for whether I like sub and dub or not. Usually I'd say sub on a large scale, but definitely some dubs I really like. But I just want I would just want some of these people to be flushed out. I don't care if you have all these lefty ideas, but when you're trying to destroy people because of it, and just doing it because you want to go against the side, you're not doing what's right. It's silly. Yeah, Funimation is going really poorly. Jamie Marchi is showing that she's absolute human garbage. Monica Real is showing she has absolutely no sense of camaraderie. She has no sense of honesty. Uh, which Discord link? Which Discord link? I posted the link on your Discord to the stream. I didn't post my Discord link. I try to be careful who I invite because I don't know people. And then people just invite random people, and then sometimes they're just trolling me, and I get a little salty. Because as long as I know who it is, then yeah, sure. But when you come under some crazy name, how do I know who it is? Yeah, I'll be streaming for a little bit, Sammy. I'm just hanging out and just talking about stuff. We're just going over this whole all the Kick Vic stuff and I Stand with Vic stuff first, and then probably work towards talking about manga. And I haven't watched a lot of. Like I say, I usually read the manga. I just well, source material I'd say really is what I usually go for. Sometimes though, depending on what it is, I might go for an adaptation. But usually the source material. So I end up reading a lot more manga than I watch anime by like a large margin. There's actually a series that I'm actually looking forward to making a video on because obviously, like I've said, Saturday night and Sunday are going to be usually my recording times for large scale stuff because that's when a lot of stuff comes out. It's over the weekend. And there's a series that just had a one shot called Fantasies, which is by the guy who made Golem Hearts. And I actually really liked Golem Hearts, and it's amongst the handful of series that got canceled early on because of how Shonen Jump was. Like, I talk about usually they get between like 12 to 16 chapters, and if they don't make it past a certain amount, Shonen Jump will cut them off there. And Golem Hearts got canceled, I think, at 15, and I was really upset about it because I really liked that series. I thought it was really interesting. And the writer just put out a one shot called Fantasies, which is like, I mean, the concept is awesome. It's the early 1900s in, I don't know. I think the town or the city's called Saint Aria, which I haven't looked up to see if that's supposed to be a real place or if the map that they showed relates to anywhere. It feels like it's supposed to be New York, but it's the early 1900s and it's centered around gangsters, like how they used to pretty much run everything back then, and it has it has all those kind of like really set pieces from like a much more like sane idea, but it definitely has a shonen appeal to it. And while it has still that dark kind of like criminal underworld and serious tone to it, it still kind of like fits the battle shonen part because it's like laid out that you can get powers, but it's from a drug made of this like mysterious plant. And the main character is like the leader of this small gang. And there's they only showed two gangs so far because obviously it was a one shot. It's not. It was just it's just supposed to get the idea across, which obviously I'm hoping this like it obviously got enough across that they put out the one shot, and I'm hoping it picks up popularity enough to get serialized. But like they show like kind of more of an evil like cruel gang, like they traffic people, they'll kill people and sell their organs that cross them. They're very very corrupt. And then the main character's crew, which are more of like the community gang, where they're more set of while doing like criminal activity, they're ultimately trying to better like the area they're living, and they're like really close to the community because I know there's a lot of gangs that are like that. I think the older ones, I think they were very community based. It's definitely is very interesting, and yeah, it's kind of like those. It just kind of like feels like you're one of those early like 1920s, 1930s gangster movies, and I think that's really cool about it. And I can actually I can feel in my body uh, like the salt would be like from Kishimoto from over in Japan if this like does well. Because those who don't know, he really wanted to do a series on like the of like the Italian mafia, and people just wanted him to do more Naruto stuff, and he was very upset about that. I imagine that he would just be kind of like motherfuckers, god damn it, get my dream. But the main character's pretty cool because the powers are all based off of the powers you get. It looks like it's kind of like tied to some creature of like mythological origins. Like the villain in the first in the one shot like can drink blood from people and like empower himself. And the main character is like one of his eyes is like black, and it's because his is the Cyclops, which lets him gives him like I can't remember exactly what the explanation. I think it was kind of like the Byakugan, where you can just kind of see all around him, and so it just gives him like a huge enhanced reflexes because he has otherwise like a very physical enhanced ability, and he carries like this big hammer. Because one of the things I liked about Golem Hearts is the main character had like it felt like a shonen battle manga, but it wasn't like I'm gonna go and do all this train to get this power, get this ability, because it looked like anybody could use any of the attacks and like buffs, because it was all centered around people who make golems, and it's like a golem does something and is tasked with something. That's pretty much all they do in life, and you can use like different symbols and different kind of buffs for them to do something. And the main character was like this kind of he was called a riddle golem, which is like a it's kind of like it's like a defective one where they have something weird about him, and his is that he looks and acts like a human. He's very sentient, and so he pretty much was his own golem kind of crafter and owned golem at the same time, and he could use the buffs on himself. But like if it would be like if instead of doing all the practice for like, oh, Naruto, you gotta learn the Rasengan, you gotta do all these steps, it'd be like you have to read about how it works in a book. You have to be able to get the symbol on it and the understanding around it like within a certain amount of time, and you have to be able to do it with like these materials. It was much more about you had to be intelligent or at least understanding of how to do the powers and all the setup, and then you had to apply them through whatever means of being more like a battle shonen. I thought it was cool. Plus, the main character because he was a golem. His powers are based around rock, which is cool because that always like seems to fall on like a side character. And in this one, the main character, instead of using a sword or like a or being a hand-to-hand combat guy, he uses like this big ass hammer. And I do like it when characters use very uncommon weapons or abilities. Like I've said before, the super strength for One for All on Deku, like it's a cool power when you're just going off of like super strength, kind of like when we see like the gap with All Might, where it's just overwhelming physical strength. You see him just like the pressure and force given off. It's like him jumping. He could jump like the freaking Hulk and shit, or it's just like overwhelmingly strong. And it come off as really cool, but it can get boring after a while if not done in specific ways or like continuously increasing for like more like jaw dropping like levels. But then you have someone like Asta who he uses a sword, but the anti magic aspect of it makes it stand out, and I think that's really cool. And that's what I like about one of the things I liked about Golem Hearts, and one of the things I like about the series Fantasies. I like that he uses a weird weapon, and the fact that his power is centered around a Cyclops, which again, that doesn't see that's usually when you if you get into a series, a Cyclops feels like it'd be like a Cyclops power and kind of like affiliation feels like it'd be set on some like big dope character that gets beaten really easily and some bad guy that loses. The fact that it's pegged on the stapled to the main character, I think is really cool, and I'm really hoping it does well, especially with the way Shonen Jump is now. I feel like they're going to be way more lenient on series they cancel because they don't have to fit it all into a magazine. It's all digital. Oh, what's up? I hope you have a good time, Sephiroth Crescent. We're just gonna, if you feel like coming back, we're gonna keep talking about just about manga in general and anything else that's really want to discuss around the whole Vic stuff and anything else that really has popped up in the anime manga community. Yeah, All Might is cool. Well, he's just very strong. He doesn't have kind of like the same feel to him in certain ways as Superman. Like All Might is still like he can still struggles in some of the villains he fights. Superman though is it's more about a guy who's so powerful that wants to live like a normal person and like has to struggle and struggle against that. And it seems kind of hard for him because at the same time people need Superman, and but he just wants to live normal lives or live a normal life. I mean, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, the Samurai 8 looks interesting. I'm gonna read that. I'm wondering if it's gonna be every week, every 2 weeks, every month. I'm hoping it's not every month. I would like it to kind of sit in more of that 2 week era, kind of like where Fairy Tail's at now, just because it feels like it doesn't feel like it's taking forever, but it definitely gives the guy enough time to like draw and get ready and write out what he wants to do. Because I think Kishimoto isn't writing it. It's just kind of or not drawing it. I think it's just like with Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest where he's writing it, but he's having someone else draw it, which is cool. And I like that idea. I liked it when Toriyama did it. I like what that Kishimoto's doing. I like that Mashima's doing it. The fact that you're at the same time helping like you're training another person, you're training a new generation person, and at the same time they're getting trained by this big name in the industry. They're also got now they've got a lot of but they got their name attached to a big title, which is really cool and probably really helps them. Do you think it's going to be every week? I don't know. I don't think he wants to do it every week just because of like how long Naruto went on. I just feel like when you've done a big series like that so much and so long after it, you still want to continue, but you don't want to do that kind of weekly grind. I feel like 2 weeks it will be the go-to. But that's just a guess. I don't obviously have any proof for that. Uh, it seems like features extending like Eden Zero, which is cool. Yeah, I like that. I like the mix though. I like that Eden Zero it's very space futuristic, but you can still tell kind of like the magic, almost fantasy aspects to it, and it's cool to see somebody who's very into a genre peer into a whole different one and what exactly they can carry over to, which is nice. and I'm wondering what exactly Samurai 8 is going to be like because it looks really cool. Like I like the samurai cyborgs really, but it's not like it doesn't feel like it's going to be like ultra mega high tech lasers and space cannons. It'll feel like I don't even really know because it's just sketches. Just feel kind of like it'll be robotically enhanced and uh, maybe it will alter their fighting styles. I don't really know. Like it's gonna be cool though. He didn't want to do Burrito. Yeah, I know. Because he wanted to do Mario, but people didn't like it, and they wanted to see more Mario or more Naruto stuff. What do you think of the recent Seven Deadly Sins chapter? What was the last one? The last one was what 301, where Meliodas and showed up, and somehow Bon was fighting with the Demon King. I don't understand how that's possible, given the fact that the Demon King was at half of his full power when they encountered him, because the other half of his power was essentially the Ten Commandments. And so you have Meliodas, who was like, I don't know, I think they said he was like 140 something thousand, and then he took in all 10 commandments. So he should be much more powerful than that version of the Demon King that they fought in Purgatory, that Meliodas, Bon, and Wild together couldn't defeat. And it wasn't until they kind of like got sneaky with it that they were able to really just get an opening to leave. And yet, and yet, Bon is somehow fighting against him, fine. And then you have like all these other characters who together weren't anything to him. It's just I don't understand how that's the case. I just don't understand how like I can get why if people are just like kind of like with Dragon Ball where it's just like I don't think about the power levels anymore. I just want to you just want to read it to be entertained or watch it to be entertained. You've given up on power levels. But people still try and justify things with some of this. They still try and do like mental gymnastics to have it work. I don't understand how they can do that. Like I don't think it makes any sense. There's a lot of headcanoning. Yeah, the fact that Bon was able to make the Demon King in Meliodas' body bleed, and an attack that completely swept everybody else away, including Lucio Dell, who was what like it wasn't power level like 200k, and somehow Bon is way above that. Like how is that happening? How is he somehow able to just not to be budged and then injure the guy who casually sweeps all these other dudes away at the same in one attack? Where it's just like he was just losing to somebody weaker in a group. How is he winning now? And especially after he lost his immortality, which was his main, like the staple to how he fought was the fact that he could drain people to make him stronger over time because he could heal up from stuff. And it took special weird attacks in order to really mess them. Dimension W. I have Dimension W. I have 3 volumes. I want to get more. Like I've said recently, I started a new job and I haven't got my first paycheck, and so right now I'm trying not to spend a lot of money until I kind of get into just like getting back into it because I moved and so I'm waiting until I start like buying a lot nicer things. I wait until I pay off my credit card, which isn't that much. It's only a couple $1,000s, but I don't want to get it too stacked. I'm trying to live pretty nicely on what I have right now. I do want to get more manga because now I have the space to get it. Like I did not have the space where I was last, and now I have a lot of extra space right now. Like I don't have a huge place. Like I wanted a pretty simplistic first apartment, but I definitely have a lot of area to put more manga. And so I do want to get more Dimension W because I read mostly battle shonens because I really like to see how different writers can take ideas. Like you have a lot of general ideas in shonens like transformations. You have the the a big bad guy who is kind of misunderstood in some way and he switches sides. You got a tournament arc. There's a lot of staple pieces that the fans love, even if it's very common. And I like to see how authors do it, but I also like to see what is in between those moments that they do that makes it feel different, which I think is really cool. For instance, is you had in Black Clover You had the part where Asta fought Ludros. You remember in the Witch's Forest, and he got the first time he ever went into the black form. And usually in series where you have something like you go into like a big power up form, and you seem like this. It'd be like getting Naruto being taken over the Nine-Tailed Fox, Ichigo having his hollow side take over. Any of these kind of like rage moments where they're winning because they have this power up, but because of the power up, they're like out of control. But it wasn't the case, and I thought that was really interesting. And then right afterwards, you had the character who's like, how am I going to improve? And it didn't take for them to realize, remember that power up? I should learn how to do that. Like when you had, again, I'm going to say, it wasn't as long in Bleach, but I will say with Naruto, like if you had in your head a surefire way of getting more powerful, like I've done it before, I just have to figure out how to do it. You'd want to do it, but a lot of characters don't think about it. They don't think how could I achieve this? Whether it could be out of their reach is different, but how they can think, how they to really approach it and try and figure it out is usually not done. But Asta did. I thought that was really cool. Like you had a very standard piece of a shonen battle manga, but it was a different approach in such a easy to understand way for the main character, and I thought that was really cool. And I like seeing characters and story arcs done by different done in from a similar idea, but done from a different writing aspect. I think that's really cool. I like the variety of it. I don't need to always try and be like, I only read something that every single time is gonna be brand new and blow my mind. Like I'm perfectly fine reading stuff that's different. Perfectly fine reading stuff that I'm not used to, and that's cool. But I'm not gonna be like, I won't read this because it reminds me of this. That's stupid. It just comes off as smug. But Dimension W, I do like it. I like that it's very mystery based. I actually, I every single time I think about it, like the first thing that always pops in my head is because before I read it and I just got it, I set it down and then it just kind of like was there for like an hour, and then I turned off a light and I came back, and I was like, what the hell is that? And I noticed that I didn't notice when I bought it that the Dimension W covers have glow in the dark material on them. So I just came back to where I left it, and it was like illuminating a small area, and I absolutely had no idea. I was like, what the fuck am I about to find? And it was the manga I bought that was slightly luminescent. I thought that was cool. I do like uh, funny like little aspects to covers like that too. Like if anyone who's seen Assassination Classroom covers, I think those are hilarious. I really like the weirdness of them. I'm trying to think of other series that just have very strange covers, but definitely Dimension W because the fact that they glow in the dark, and then the weirdness of Assassination Classroom covers. If you've never seen them, if you ever go to Barnes and Noble, just look for those. I just think that's a really unique aspect to them that I like. Just adds a little bit of flavor to buying them physically. But I do like to own manga in general. And let me see what else people say. Yeah, Dimension W is cool. Um, no, in other words, power. Words of Vegeta power levels are bullshit. Um, usually, so where I think you and I have talked about this before, Alec. When it comes to power levels by a number, I think they're more often than not bullshit by like a large margin. I remember Shaman King had power levels, but they were very consistent with them. And anytime a character who had a low power level beat somebody stronger, it's because they assumed their power level was the same, but they like went and trained in something. Usually the power levels, yeah, when someone says like your power level's 30, how are you beating my power level of 42? Yeah, it comes up like that. That's one of the things I thought with Seven Deadly Sin was annoying, because most series when they introduce power levels, they usually like shortly after stop giving a shit. I know One Piece did it. Obviously Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball really only had power levels in between uh, in the Frieza related arc. So in the Saiyan and Saga and Frieza Saga, power levels like were, what's the scouter say, like given numbers. Other than that, it's literally just the character would be like his power feels so much stronger. Um, but when you try and like peg it through numbers like specifics and try and be so like exact with it, usually doesn't work. When it's just kind of like figuring out from comparing like a character of where they're supposed to stand, and and you kind of just say like, well, this character should be like this powerful. That's a different story. From fan speculation, it can make a lot of sense, but definitely not when you try and do like when you try and give them stats. When you try and give them consistent stats, and then don't keep up with it. Like if you're gonna be like every arc, I'm gonna give them different stats. Go ahead, maybe it'll work better that way. My favorite villain in Naruto, Kimimaro. I've always talked about it. I really like Kimimaro. I loved his design. I thought his motivation was really cool. I liked his like all his attacks, his death, like everything about him. I thought was really interesting. Even though he wasn't that important, I thought he was a really interesting character, and I was really sad to see him go. But luckily, it wasn't. He didn't get killed off in a way that made him seem insignificant. He got killed off in an arc where it really was. He was really the peak of that arc, aside from Naruto against Sasuke. And Kimimaro, I thought was really cool. And I would really wish that Kishimoto used his design for one of the like get rid of fucking Hidan from the Akatsuki, put Kimimaru's design in there, switch their character ideas. Like it was so much cooler. It would have been so much more interesting to have another like end of a clan bloodline and just to see this sick bone power. Like, it was so awesome. I miss it. I miss that character. I really liked everything about him was just really interesting. I think Eden Zero is gonna have a tournament arc. Yes, no doubt. There's no way. There's no way that it's not going to be a reveal that there's like a tournament planet or something, or like a big coliseum in space, or like a, some galactic hub where people go to fight. I don't know, but there's no way there's not going to be a tournament arc. It's just tournament arcs are like, and it's become almost a meme, but really, like almost every shonen battle manga has a tournament arc, and some I don't think any like people complain when it gets to a tournament arc. It just always seems to be a fun hype moment that people love, and I always, always assume one of these battle manga will have a tournament arc. It's just such a good time. I really like it. Though sometimes I wish that Fairy Tail's tournament arc was just a tournament, because I know originally it was just supposed to be a tournament, and then it turned out to kind of like the Grand Magic Games as like a tournament, but also like very a varying competition. Beastars is getting anime. Yeah, I know. People told me about that. I know of this series. I don't know anything about it. I've never touched it. I just know of its existence. I don't know. I usually get turned away by the furry on the cover. I don't know if that's actually a character or what, but it's a little weird. But that's just my opinion. I don't know anything about it. I can't give any context to the series. Obviously, it's liked enough that it's getting an anime, which is cool. Which is the only show I know that doesn't have a tournament arc. Yeah, I really wish that. Well, with Bleach though, it would have. I feel like with Bleach, it would have been hard to fit a tournament arc in there somewhere, unless it like maybe in Wake of Mundo. I don't know. I think Kubo. I think Kubo definitely should add a tournament arc. People just love tournament arcs. They're so cool. Tournament arcs is just such a fun time in manga, and I don't think anybody complains about it. I don't think anybody's like, God damn it, a tournament arc. It's just such a welcomed idea. But no, I definitely would love to see a tournament arc in Eden Zero, and I don't. I'm not gonna assume there's not gonna be one. I definitely assume there's gonna be one, so it's gonna be good stuff. Hmm. Let me see. Eden Zero is kind of like the Greed Island arc, Hunter x Hunter. I mean, going into a video game, but Greed Island was like, well, what were they trying to find in Greed Island? I'm trying to remember. Wasn't it a clue to Gon's dad? Because I was thinking just like going into a video game kind of like setting, but I guess the motivation really would really make it feel more like it than just the idea. But yeah, I can see where you'd see like a comparison. Is it? Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about Beastars. I mean, that's an interesting idea though. They're trying to find Gon's dad. Yeah, that's what I vaguely remember. I don't remember a lot about it. I just remember they had that, and that's where that character Biscuit and the Scissor Guy came in, and they had those books, and they collected cards. I don't even remember what for. I don't remember a lot of the arc. All I remember is kind of like vague portions. Like I haven't read or watched that arc in years. Like I remember watching, like as soon as the anime, the redone anime ended, I had just finished the manga, so I watched through the anime. So like right when that ended, I ended up like watching it all the way through. And I've only watched it and read through it once, so it's not like as ingrained into my memory as a lot of series. Yeah, Gon's dad is a piece of shit. I don't know. I never got really into Hunter x Hunter. I like the Chimera ants just because I like the idea of them. I thought some of them were really cool. Um, I get why people like Hunter x Hunter. I've just never been a huge fan of it, but obviously it's popular. I My complaints are mostly at Togashi, the fact that I don't think he's ever gonna finish Hunter x Hunter. He could have finished it a while ago, but he decided to be like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and then bring out the Dark Continent. Yeah, obviously people really like Hunter x Hunter. Very popular. I heard Biscuit is getting into Jump Force. Why? Why did they pick Biscuit? I don't get. Why did they pick Biscuit? I mean, if they wanted more female characters, why didn't they get what's her name from Yu Yu Hakusho, the old lady that trained Yusuke, the one that taught him all his different techniques, and then oh my god, I'm gonna have to look that up if no, someone doesn't remind me very quickly. Since Drac and Joe called the Dark Alchemist, do you think you're related to Wall from Spriggan 12? Yeah, I'm hoping so. I thought the thing about the Spriggan 12 specifically that I will always stand by is in terms, yeah, Genkai, thanks. Yeah, that's who I think it should have been. It should have been it, because let me get back to let me get to this Drac and Joe thing real quick. With Drac and Joe, or the really, let's kind of go over towards alchemy, is out of the designs of the Spriggan 12, I thought Walls was the coolest because he wasn't really magic. His magic was analyzing people and interchanging weapons. So he kind of had that. He was like a robot with a requip, but at the same time, he could summon robots to exploit people's weakness. He could He could override his own personality settings, so he wouldn't kind of like come up and screw himself over with the way he acted, which I thought was really cool. And just the way that he fought in general, I thought was really interesting. And I'm hoping Hiramashima realizes, the fact that that was a really cool way of a character is, and the way that they fight, and the way that they kind of like their move set is focused around, and bring it over and give it to a bigger villain. Something like you had Crash Cookie and Rave Master, he was like a villain. He was one of Doryu's men for like a chapter and a half, and then he died because he used his power. I think he fell through. He used his power to like break the bottom of where he was on the city ship, and then just fall into the ocean where he pretty much just fell to his death. And it was like you had this really cool power, but it felt wasted. So you bring it over to this bigger character where it's gonna, the idea of it is gonna be used a lot better and used a lot more, which I'm hoping is the case with Drac and Joe. But yeah, so Genkai, why did they not use Genkai? Genkai could have been the old lady, and then her awakening could have been when she became younger, and you could have used the shotgun power, because I don't think, does Yusuke have that in game? I've played Yusuke like once in Jump Force, but you could have had a similar move set. I'm trying to remember some of her moves, but that could have been her awakening. You could have had a melee fighter with ranged. It would be similar to Yusuke, but alter it to fit more of her fighting style. But also the fact that she'd have a smaller hitbox, and then you could fit that whole idea, because I know people are complaining about the size of the female roster. I don't think the females are complaining, because shonen women aren't usually as a lot of battles shown in manga usually don't have nearly as many good female characters as good male characters. It just happens, right? A lot of these series are written by dudes who are probably way more invested in writing their large male cast. But actually, it's funny because thinking about it, it's like out of the series in Shonen Jump right now that I can name just off the top of my head that are written by Wim Kimetsu no Yaiba and Jujutsu Kaisen,
they're written by women, but they have also have more. They have better male characters, female characters. Oh, Hitman Reborn also, Full Metal Alchemist also, Magi also. All these. Eh, I mean, they know how to they know what people want in in these kind of things. But I mean, an Echo Fighter, but there. I mean, it's not like just a skills like a swap and then it's slightly different. I imagine she would have a different. I'm trying to remember how exactly she fought different than Yusuke. I remember she also had the spirit gun, but obviously she would have something similar, but it's different things. I mean, but there. Has anyone here not seen the 9 allegedly leaked DLC characters? Has anyone not seen them? Because I'm trying to remember. It's off of my head. If you haven't seen them, it's Kaiba, Toshiro, and Grimjow from Bleach, Law from One Piece, Boo, uh, Biscuit, who am I thinking of? Madara, and All Might and Bakugo, which I think two of those characters I think were terrible choices, and those two are Toshiro and All Might. And obviously, Toshiro is very popular in Bleach, and All Might is very popular in My Hero Academia. But you gotta keep in mind, Bleach already has an ice sword character with Rukia, and All Might is just gonna feel way too similar to Toguro, which I don't know why they. For one, the fact that Hiei is still isn't it is ridiculous because even though I'm not like I like Yu Yu Hakusho. I haven't read through Yu Yu Hakusho or watched through the anime in a long time, but I enjoyed it. But I know Hiei is very popular, and the fact that he isn't in the game and he's not even in this allegedly, assuming these 9 are true, assuming that these are the ones, the fact he isn't in there is crazy. Like he somebody one of my friends who's like a big Yu Yu Hakusho fan like is telling me like Hiei is one of the most liked characters on the Japan side of things. Like people love Hiei. The fact he isn't in there is crazy. Um, the fact that they have another ice sword character and another just like really physically strong character is silly. Obviously, people like All Might and Toshiro, but why would you add another 2 characters who are very similar to ones already in? Adding Boo, I think, was stupid. There should have been I agree with Naruto with Madara because Naruto's villain. Why would you add Kaguya? I don't think anybody wants Kaguya. I don't think I've ever played against somebody who used Kaguya unironically. Um, I think the only cool thing about Kaguya is the fact that her like she like auto regens to one energy gauge bar because her whole mother chakra thing. Pretty cool, unique ability, but at the same time, like her abilities are kind of lame. At least from what I've seen. I tried her. I didn't like her. I don't think anybody plays her. Um, Boo, they didn't need to add any more Dragon Ball. They didn't add any more One Piece characters. Um, I thought Bakugo was a cool addition because he's got a really cool fighting style, and the fact that Deku, like I think Bakugo is a good addition on both a gameplay wise, but also on the My Hero Academia fandom wise, because Deku's moveset is kind of plain and kind of boring. Like there's a part like the game itself, it's fun. Some people like a lot of the story mode missions aren't that hard, but like I was struggling with like there's this part where Deku's really like down in the dumps. Like he's like everyone else here is so amazing, and I don't know if I can live up to their expectations. And so they're like, well, you know, we'll help you gain confidence. So to help him gain confidence, he was gonna fight Jotaro and Kenshiro, and I was like, well, that's a terrible idea. Why would they do this? And then I was getting hands. I was getting wrecked by these 2 computers as Deku because I like Deku's just moveset isn't very good. Like he's got fucking Detroit Smash where it's just like a heavy punch. He's got his I know he's the what is it the Delaware Smash which is his flick. He's got his jump. I think was it Missouri or something. He like jumps and like stomps on someone, and then he's got his 1,000,000%, which is just it was a meaningful moment in the series, But why did they make that his ult? It's such a lame ult. It's not the worst ult. Gon has the worst ult in the game for sure. But the fact that Deku's ult is literally just he pushes somebody really hard and then punches them. I think My Hero Academia got done dirty in in Deku's character and moveset just because he looks the weirdest out of all the character models in game, and he's not really fun to play. Like I've seen people on YouTube who are really good with him, but I imagine that if someone's really good at the character, they're just gonna be really good at the character. The fact that it's like it has to be somebody who does nothing but play Deku can be really can display like skill with them, but you can be good with almost any other character like around your level. You have to be way better than the person you're against to really, from what I've seen, to win with Deku. He's not a very playable character, or not very good in the game. But Bakugo, I think, will be a good addition because he's got a cool move set. He's got a nice design, and obviously, I think the fans deserve. I think the My Hero Academia fans definitely deserve it after Deku. But All Might, as much as I think All Might's cool, shouldn't have been All Might. Um, the fact that if this is the case, they gave My Hero Academia two characters, two extra ones, and one is literally just going to be like smiling Toguro, and they didn't add Yuno in, is ridiculous. Because one, why out of all the new generations, why would you specifically add the two front runners, and then when it came to the game, add the main characters, and then the DLC add two for My Hero Academia and none for Black Clover? Why wouldn't you add both of their rivals? To kind of keep that up, because one, Yuno is very liked. Yuno's a very liked character. He's a very interesting character. And two, if you ever played Quartet Knights, the Black Clover fighting game, he's got a really cool moveset. You literally could have copied his moveset from that game and put it into this game. He's got his base ability, or his base skill move, which is he makes like these, the wind blades, and you could either have 30, I think it was 30 of them, and they pretty much fire like a machine gun, and it's a lot of small damage, a lot of them that move very fast that do lots of small damage, cumulatively. Or you can switch it, and it was like 4 or 5 shots of this widespread shotgun style. He puts it in his bow where he fires it is like it'll be like a big frontal cone of like 3 arrows, and so you would have an attack that has you could either do fast ranged or ranged widespread in like a cone. He had a wind ability. Like the fact he used his wind magic to double jump, I thought would have been a really cool thing for his character in the game. He had his towering tornado for CC and opening gaps to do ranged. You didn't have to do anything special with his awakening. It would just be his spirit dive, where all you're literally doing is changing the color slightly and adding the wing and the part crown and the cuffling, and then his wind changes to that like spirit green color. They don't have to do the fucking elf version, but the fact that all they would have to do is get to that partial one. And I don't know why if this is the case, they didn't do It just feels weird. The fact he's not in. If this is the case, these are the 9 that he's not in there, especially when he's got a really cool moveset. Like one of the things I actually do really like is Bakugo and both, like I said, have cool movesets. They would have been really good additions to the game, but they didn't. Suna not getting in. Suna and Toriko I really wanted in the game. I thought they would have been really cool. Doesn't look too good for them right now. The fact that there's only planning on 9 DLC characters, at least for now. If the game, though, I think there'll be more, because so far when I go to the store, like I was at Walmart earlier, just like getting some groceries, and Jump Force was sold out. Like just even it wasn't there any today, and I went last week. I think it was 2 days or something after the game came out, and there was only one left. And that's looking good on the game itself. And I think Japan sold 81% of their stock within the first kind of like shipping. They sold 81%, I think, of what they had. Obviously, that isn't instantly like looking good. Like it looks good initially, doesn't look great. It doesn't prove anything for the long run. But really, from what I've really seen, the complaints are mostly about the cutscenes, and yeah, cutscenes are ass, but you're not playing a fighting game for the cutscenes. As long oh, as long as the cutscenes and when they do their attacks and stuff are cool. But I don't think anyone's playing for the in between cutscenes. But I don't know. I really wish would have been Itachi would have been cool. Um, Itachi would have been cool. I feel like is a better choice though, just from Itachi has a cool move set, but I feel like it would be too similar to what Sasuke has right now. But I wouldn't be against Itachi being in the game because he does have variations to him. Like I do, like I said, I like All Might, but I don't think his move set and the way he plays is gonna really feel different from Toguro. Like I feel like it might be worse. I don't know. It's gonna be weird. Yeah, Pain would be cool as well. A choice. Pain's really cool. I don't think I don't think anybody other than I don't think Boo, Law. I don't think there should have been two Bleach characters. I think it should have just been one. But I don't know. Obviously, I can't say for sure because it's not confirmed. But we're just going off of what we have right now. If they say there's going to be more, that'll be cool. But if this is it, then I'll be a little bit annoyed. But I have said, and I stand by what I said, the only character that if they didn't put in the game, what I'd be upset about is Kaiba. And apparently Kaiba is going to be in it. So if if that's the case, I'll be happy. Solely with Kaiba. Because I'll have Kaiba and Yugi. Yugi already has one of the best move sets in the whole game. I'm practicing getting good with him. Next time I do it, I might do a small stream tomorrow and play a little Jump Force. It's definitely figuring out how to play better recently. Trying to get my combos in. Definitely figuring out the characters more, and I'm having a lot. Actually, having a lot of fun. I enjoy the game. The only thing that only bothers me with that game, but not from a game itself standpoint, and that's when you have somebody who makes some annoying combo set OC where their abilities just kind of instantly link together, and you're just getting fucked if you get set in a combo. But whatever. It's just how it is. I haven't used my OC guy in any of it, but definitely looking forward to more of the game. Definitely look forward to more of the game. Noel and Yami should be. I mean, I didn't expect there to be a lot of represent. I like unless the game was going to be like roster 100. Like if the roster's only 40 something, the fact that Deku and Asta both got in is great. I don't expect there to be a million of the series that I like. I don't expect there to be only the characters I want. But the fact they're adding Bakugo, I figured they'd add Yuno. But why would they also add an All Might? I don't know. I really wish that they add Yuno at some point. That's all I can really put towards it. But as I said, the fact that if they get in Kaiba, that's all I really need after that. Like I wasn't expecting Yugi to get in, and then Yugi got in, and I said, okay, I guess I'm getting this game. And the fact that Yugi got in, and they had the data mined originally, Kaiba was going to be in the game, in the base game, and you have like the Kaiba Corp blimp flying around. I was like, maybe Kaiba will be in, but that's not. Well, Stain, I mean, that's the argument. That's the kind of idea. Is like, there's always going to be why can't this character? And there's obviously everyone's going to want like there's so many characters in Shonen Jump that they own. They could add like almost anybody, and there's always going to be somebody who wants a different character. And you got to think though is from all of them, if there's only 9 DLC, then I don't expect there to be Noel, Yami, out of all of them, logically, you'd think is could be in at least. Out of those three, really, if you're gonna pick those three, if those three, like, if any of the spots they want to give to Black Clover, the fact that it would give 2 more to Bleach, and 1 to each to Naruto, One Piece, and Dragon Ball, when each of them already have 6 characters in the game, it's gonna start feeling overrun by them, and I think that's kind of dumb. Like, they definitely need to add in more. And if they don't add in the characters, they should start having character attacks. Like if you had, let's say you were gonna be like, well, we were originally were planning to put in we were originally planning to put in Toriko, but we decided against it. But we had one of the files, like you had just his nail punch, just the nail punch. You know, who have, those who have read Toriko, or well, those who haven't read Toriko, he's pretty much it's an attack like stacked together. So if he does like a fivefold, it'll hit you, but it will hit you 5 times in use, and you'll get once, and you'll hit, there'll be a short delay, and then you'll get hit again uh, up to the number of times it's set. So you could put in the attack of a character, and then it's just like, well, I can't have the character, but I can try and make the character. If you have the abilities in, and then you don't have to work on the character model. You don't have to work on getting the voice actor. You don't have to work on everything else, as well as getting the other characters from it tied in. Maybe they could start doing stuff like that, and I think they're cool. Siren, I don't think they're gonna do anything like Siren and like all the smaller stuff. Like I don't think so. I was surprised when Medica got into Jump versus or whatever the last one was called. The fact that Medica Box was only like I think it was only like 180 chapters or something. Siren is only like 140, and I don't know. I just don't find it likely that they would put small attacks or small characters from smaller series is really what I'm trying to say inside of the games. Though I could see the attacks itself, like if they just wanted to put in Agaha's Melchi's door, however you pronounce that, just big black ball of energy that goes and it would just be like a big like slow, hard to control. Actually, I think it got really fast. Yeah, he made it smaller, made it really fast, but it gets really big and slow. But it doesn't like its perk is that it eats anything that goes at it. Like so, oh, okay, if I can, Goku uses Kamehameha. If I can use that attack, the Kamehameha gets absorbed, it gets eaten away, and at the same time, it's the guy character using it now has to fucking move, stop the attack and move, or get hit by it. No, there's a lot of cool stuff I think they could do without doing all these other things. Yeah, you could have a bunch of stuff from Bleach without having the entire moveset. You could have just Kobamore's Bankai when you get the big fucking what is it, Tengen. Oh my god, I'm trying to remember his Bankai. He's got a really long one. I should have picked someone else. Or Gin, literally Gin, and you just use this fucking god, was it God killing spirit? What it's like, oh my god, I'm remembering it very vaguely in Japanese. You do that, and it literally would just be a very fast, very heavy lunge that has a poison debuff on it. There you go. That's his old. You just put that in game. You don't have to worry about getting its whole move set, getting them all put together. I think that'd be something I think they could really do. I think they do that in Xenoverse. In Xenoverse, the games is they'll have you may not be able to get the characters, but they'll have some of their moves, which would be really cool. I think with what Jump Force could do. And then you could make some people happy that they really want a character in, but at least they may be able to get their attack, put it on their OC, which I think would be a really interesting way to go about trying to please a larger scale of fans that might never get their character in. It's like I would love to have a lot of Black Clover characters, and I'd love to have a lot of Toriko characters, and I'd love to have a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh characters, and those are some of my more favorite series that Jump owns, but I didn't expect Yugi to be in it all. Um, just because I was wondering like if they'd be able to really make his moveset work. Then he got in. I was really happy. I thought that was cool. But it's just one of the things like I never assumed as much as he was the character I wanted out of all of Shonen Jump, he was who I wanted most in the game. Doesn't mean he's going to be in the game, and I understood that. But the fact he got in, it's just like, but now I want Kaiba, I want Joey, I want Merrick, Darts, Jaden, Yusei. Like I just keep wanting more of their characters. You can't get them all, which like, obvious reasons like time, money, effort. You can't just get a million characters. As long as they keep the thing though about Jump Force, which I think is really cool, is as long as they keep updating it and putting out DLC characters, the game could go on for a long time, which is cool as hell. Cause it's not like um, it's not like say League of Legends where The idea is you have to, every time you make a new character, you have to figure out what makes this character special, what makes them stand out from the others, what's their design going to be, what's their origin going to be. You got to think of all these things. You could literally have a list of different series on a wall and just throw a rock, hit one, and then go through those series, go into that series, get a bunch of random characters, throw another rock, bam, there's the DLC. We have their move set. We've got. They're more than likely gonna have a character or a person who already voiced them. They don't have to worry about creating a new design. They don't have to worry about backstory or shit because it's already written. It's already been written and played out. You don't have to worry about gaining a following for it because they're already gonna have a following for the characters, and you have such a large expanse of stuff. They're almost never gonna run out. Let me see. Yeah, I've always wished that Fairy Tail had a better console game. I mean, they keep going for mobile games and shit. It's all inducing. I'd be so happy if it was like we're having a guest character, and I'm just like, yeah, who the fuck's gonna be the bringer of Saitama or some shit? And it's just like Natsu Dragneel joins Jump Force. I'd have to gasp a little bit for real because that would mean I'd have to switch my main from Yugi to Asta or from to Natsu. I mean, I'd have to at that point. He's my boy. If they brought him into Jump Force, I guess it would depend on what character. Like, if they give him a mount. Though I feel like if they somehow got Fairy Tail into Jump Force, it would just be Natsu. You would get like Natsu and then maybe Urza. Just because I feel like those would be the most logical choices for them if they somehow got the guest characters. I think that'd be really cool though. I mean, if they had the villain though, there's no way that they wouldn't go for Zeref. I think Zeref would be the obvious pick. As much as I like Ackmalogi, I feel like Zeref's more popular in the fan base. Do you think Tanjiro from Kimetsu no Yaiba will be in after its anime? Yes, I do, because I've been saying this for a while. Um, as soon as the anime comes out, it's gonna explode. It's gonna gain all this traction, and not just because it's a really interesting series, but because the animation is great. And it's not just the animation is great. The anime is being premiered in the theaters in Japan, and the first 5 episodes are movie quality. Like that's one of the reasons it looks so clean is the first 5 episodes are gonna be just really well done, which I think is really surprising because I didn't think they were gonna do that with the weekly Shonen Jump series, but I think they believe in it a lot, which is cool. If Fairy Tail was in Jump Force, I would want. I mean, yeah, but you could want all these other characters, but it would really just depend on the reality of it. There's obviously the all these different characters to pick from. It's the same thing with like you could say with any other characters in Jump Force already. Is you have all these series, but you can only get a finite number of characters in. And if somehow if they're like we're gonna do a guest character and we're gonna get it from for some reason do Shonen Magazine and we're gonna do Fairy Tail, there's no way they're gonna say like let's get 5 characters. They're just gonna get one because there's obviously like I don't believe that they would be able to somehow pull that many characters over just because I know like it's their rival. Like Shonen Jump is the biggest, and then you have like Shonen Magazine and Shonen Sunday. The idea of them somehow convincing them to let them put them in their game, and then I don't know. I just feel like they would only pull in one because there's usually not a lot of guest characters from the same series. It's usually just like, all right, we're gonna have X amount of guest characters, and they're gonna pull in that many all from different series. It would seem weird to have that many different characters all as guest characters from a whole different company. I don't know. It would only make sense with that many is if somehow they came to like a massive agreement. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a very interesting topic, but I don't know if it would ever really solidify itself. Do you like Drifters? I don't think I've seen Drifters. I've been recommended it before, but I've never touched it. I'm wondering what else. I'm thinking right now of what who would be a really nice upcoming pick that isn't in the game, isn't part of any of these of like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Dragon Ball. Who in the game already? Like what series in the game already would be able really cool to pull someone in? Who I'm trying to think of something like just really quick. Um, who do they have already? Well, I mean it's kind of hard because like almost everybody is like an old series other than like I don't count Boruto because it's just a Naruto like sequel. But other than that, it's like the only series that are past Bleach, which Bleach came out in 2001, are My Hero Academia and Black Clover with Deku and Asta. I mean, I just imagine like if they were gonna pull somebody in from one of the series already, I just feel like it should have been like Hiei or something, because I know how impressed how liked he is. What is this? Well, Mest is definitely a lolicon. I mean, that much is set. That's just a thing. It's very obvious. God damn. No, old Genos. I don't think One Punch Man. I don't think that's Shonen Jump. So it's gotta be Shonen Jump. Um, like they could easily pull in any of the series that they own overall, but I feel like it's gonna be have to have been published in Shonen Jump itself. Did Soma end? I heard it was ending. Did it officially end? Like I know its popularity has been dropping. The fact that the guy was like, I mean, I imagine why he'd be like, I'm just gonna go on forever. Well, Doctor Stone, like, I don't think you could work with a lot of Doctor Stone, other than that villain guy, the guy from that first whole arc, that guy that like killed lions and shit. That guy, I mean, you could probably put him in there, but Doctor Stone is way more about like science, like talking about how stuff works half the time than battles. Like there was like that one like real battle. Yacht. If it's another Bleach character, another person from Bleach, I think would be interesting to put in. Maybe Oryu. Like I think Oryu would be a really cool addition just because he's very ranged. And there's not a ton of ranged characters. That's one of the things that's one of the reasons I think Yugi's really good is he's very strategy ranged combo, and so like you have all these characters who are very melee, and so you just dodge out of lead, drop fucking Dark Magician Girl, and then combo into Black Burning Magic, and then he just took off like 20 to 30% of their health, and then continue to combo them. I mean, he's not unbeatable, but the range definitely having there's definitely a rock paper scissors aspect to it, and there's way more melee characters than ranged characters, which is cool. I don't know. I feel like Doctor Stone wouldn't be in. It just doesn't feel like it would be said. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen and Kimetsu no Yaiba, I think, would be really good choices to bring in. I think Kimetsu no Yaiba would definitely be in there. Well, I don't know. Right. I don't know if they're have they. They don't think they have any like gag series in there because they don't have Bobo Bobo, and he was already in or the last Jump game, Jump Burst, whatever. Um they don't have Beal and Oga from Beelzebub. Like I know those ones. They had like random. They had that dude from like what the cereal box, and then like the dude from what's it called? What that really long running one? Fucking it was like 200 volumes about like being a police officer. Kochi Kame, wasn't he in the game? Gintama's not in it. I think they've tried to keep it more serious. So I don't think they're gonna add at least as of right now until they're always shown. I don't think they're gonna add any jokey characters. I'm surprised Medica didn't go in. That was one of the things that really surprised me. Because for those who didn't see, there was an article by Polygon, or it was Polygon or the Mary Sue. I think it was by Polygon, which is a super trashy SJW website. And they were complaining about Jump Force's roster only having 3 chicks. And they were like, why wouldn't they add someone like Sakura? Sakura was like their go-to example of a female character. Sakura, who is like the worst. Sakura is like one of the worst like female empowerment characters ever because her little character, like TLDR, is she chased some dude for years who abused her, mentally and physically somehow managed to marry him, and then he went on adventures while single mother raised their kid. like, I'm like, come on. Like they mentioned Sakura, and then they were like, oh, at least they have Rukia, and then for some reason they're like, even though Rukia is not her most powerful form, and I'm just like, what form of Rukia is stronger than her Bankai? That kind of confused me because that's just canonically not true. You could tell whoever was writing this was a fake fan. They just were probably looking at wikis and stuff they see on Netflix. But they didn't mention Medica Kurokami, who is a pretty well-known and pretty powerful character in like the Shonen Jump history, who is a main character of a battle series where she's the main character. And why wouldn't that be like one of your main go-to characters to mention? It's just silly. It's just a pretty silly. Well, JoJo. So JoJo, I know. Why they only go up to Jotaro is um, he moved I don't know what magazine JoJo's in right now, but I know from what people have told me he moved magazines after part 3, so it would have to be up to part 3. And I don't remember like the only female character I could think of that was a fighter up to that point was what Lisa, and I don't remember what her moveset was like. I don't know. I don't think that I feel like the only characters you're really gonna be able to pull Dio, Jotaro, and Joseph. I think those are going to be would be the go-to characters to really go at. Um, yeah, Sakura is an absolutely god awful character. I hate Sakura. I think she's garbage. Um, I think she's really lame. Nothing about her is appealing. Was part 4 in Shonen Jump? Okay. Was it part 4 where after that he moved to a new magazine? Lester Kishimoto wrote her like that on purpose. Yeah, he said he didn't know how to write a female character. And then he set it up to make it look like Naruto was going to end up with Sakura just to kind of screw her over. And then like the whole point there was that whole like short series about Salad where like the whole thing is that she thought that Sakura wasn't actually her mom and she thought it was Karin, which is why she had glasses, which was so funny. Like you're dumpstering Sakura like after the series is over and she's not even a main character anymore. Like come on. Jesus. I remember people comparing Juvia and Gray's relationship to Sakura. Why? How? Juvia and Gray's relationship is that she's always trying and that he's not really interested, but obviously that changes. But Gray never treated her like she was garbage. Sasuke tried to kill her, and he also like abused her emotionally. Like, and then at one point he mind fucked her. Remember when he was gonna go fight Naruto, so he put it in Sakura's head that he like stabbed her through the chest and she was dying. So he put in her mind the idea that she was about to die. And like what is the meanest thing that Gray has done where he's like been like no thanks. I don't want to be assaulted by you in the middle of doing work. I mean like it's goofy. That's a terrible comparison. Very terrible comparison. I mean, that one is just kind of silly. It was part seven's where he moved. I thought it was part. I could have sworn it was earlier than that, but I don't know a lot about JoJo. But if it's that later on, maybe they could add. Is Jolene is part 6. Was she in Shonen Jump? I mean, why haven't they had Jolene then? Isn't she fairly popular amongst JoJo? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know a lot about JoJo. I've only watched parts 1, 2, and 3. I honestly find the facts. Salad. Her name is Salad. It's Salad and Burrito. Best female character in Naruto is Tsunade. I don't know. I kind of like Conan. I thought she had a cool design, and like I like that she. I like when she fought. Was it Obito? And she planned ahead, and she just made like an entire lake of paper bombs, and it was just like that's smart. That's really like out of all the Akatsuki, like that moment, it just felt like she was the most prepared to do shit. Just that moment where it's just like, yeah, I've been preparing this for a while. Like this lake is, I've been prepping this lake in case I needed to fuck one of you guys over for trying to fuck me over. I thought that was cool, and then I liked her cool I liked her cool paper style. I thought that was interesting. I don't know. Naruto doesn't have a lot of really cool female characters. I don't know. I know people really like. I mean, some people like Tsunade. She got fucked over because originally, she was supposed to fight Pain. I saw this. She was supposed to fight Pain and like have a battle with him before Naruto showed up, but they cut it so Naruto would show up to fight Pain. It was either the first, it was either the last issue before the new year or the first issue of the new year, and that's when Naruto showed up. But they completely cut Tsunade's fight for that, which is very unfortunate for her. Like she hasn't really done anything. Like the greatest thing I think she ever did otherwise is she like put a crack in Madara's Susanoo. Like that was like that's like otherwise the height of her character. Just pretty shitty. Poor Tsunade, she got fucked. Salad, like I kind of like Salad. I think she's cool. She's got an alright design. She actually seems like motivated to do shit. Her and then I like Choji's daughter. I think she's alright. I don't watch the anime. I know she's way more important in the anime, but like what I remember her in the manga, I thought she was pretty entertaining, pretty all right. I have to catch up on Radiant. I have the volumes. I've read fan translations. I need to read all the official volumes. I have 1, 2, 3 of the official. I'm not caught. Like I've stopped watching the anime a while ago because I was getting a little salty with how long they were fucking dragging out the stuff before Rumble Town and everything. I don't know why they're doing that. Opinion on Bleach female characters. Most of them are good. That's one of the things that Bleach had is like they had some pretty good female characters, and obviously Yoruichi is like Yoruichi, is near the tippy top of female characters. I think in Shonen, Yoruichi is one of them. Obviously, the best female character in Shonen Jump is Mereoleona. It's uncontested. Mereoleona, best female in Shonen manga, 100%. Mereoleona is awesome, and it's really weird to see, and it's really weird to see in a lot of these new ones. Poor all the unfortunate chicks in My Hero Academia still feel like they're in some of the older style, or a lot of the female characters are mostly just there, and then you got Black Clover where Noelle is just fucking like Noelle, Mereoleona, Gray, Charmy, fucking Charlotte, Fauna. You have all these badass chicks, and it just all feels natural. Or all the unfortunate girls in My Hero Academia just kind of stand there, and it's weird because you have someone like the I use female lead lightly for Aravity, but she's got a really good power. Like all she'd have to do is like learn hand-to-hand combat like to a really good degree, and she was training for it, and it was never really shown until it was like 2 chapters ago. She really asked to touch somebody. Like, how does anyone know how much she has to touch them in order to apply her power to them? Yeah, Toga's cool. I like Toga. I think she's interesting. Any of the like more knowledgeable My Hero Academia fans here know like how much does Aravity have to touch somebody in order to apply her power to them? Because I know she has to touch something, but I don't know if it has to be a certain amount of hands. Because I know Bad Touch, he has to have all 5 fingers touching, and I don't remember. I think it was as long as his hands are touching for Overhaul. Yeah, all 5 fingers. So literally, if she has to fight somebody, all she would have to do is dodge and then touch all 5 fingers, and then bam, she's now placed them at 0G. Isn't her limit is what, like 2 tons? I think it was something like that, like 2 tons of weight. Does anyone know? Like I said, I know the overall kind of idea. I don't know a lot of the specifics for like My Hero Academia. Because she could defeat a lot of people. Like she might not be able to go after any like the big shots villains, but she could definitely beat a lot of characters in there. As if because once she gets that off, bam, 0G'd out. They're gonna be floating there. She can just keep floating them up in space or like in the sky, and it could easily get to a point where it's just like surrender or I'll drop you and you're gonna break every bone in your body. But they don't do anything with it, and it's weird because she's got a good power. Her backstory is pretty simple. I don't really. It's easy to understand. It's not very compelling, but it's definitely you could get exactly like why she's doing stuff. but like Horikoshi's doesn't do anything with her, and it's weird. That's one of the things like I talk about. That's one of the reasons I don't like the idea of Deku having all these powers. Is not from from the idea that um, from the idea that a lot of these characters who have value, the fact that they have more versatile ways that they use their powers, but that could easily go out the window with Deku having so many powers. I don't know. I can't tell if I can't tell if she's going to ever really amount to a lot in the series. I don't know. I'm now thinking back of the frickin' now thinking back of the fact that Deku has so many powers and how much that bothers me. There's so many things about that have annoyed the shit out of me. Have you seen the last episode of the least latest episode of the Fairy Tail Final Season? Yeah, I'm a little salty about some of because they had some cool animation parts, like, and then just cool aesthetics. Like I talked about how much I really like the fact that Natsu's. I don't know if it's supposed to be specifically the Igneo flames or his Fire Dragon King mode flames are red. I really like that. I like it's a cool yet simplistic differentiation between his normal fire and that specific type. I think that's cool. I like that bit. I mean, but like some of the scenes, like they've had some really cool animation bits. But I mean, that's just weekly shonen anime stuff. You're either gonna get they're either gonna be pretty normal, or when they get to like pretty bland scenes, is they're hopefully skimping time, money, and effort because they're working towards a specific part being big. So I'm really hoping for some more like really good stuff. And I was a little salty. So I was salty that about this episode specifically because I really liked Wall. I really like his character. I like his design. Some of the scenes didn't look very cool, but I like how they I like how his color scheme came out. I like how they took attention to small stuff like making sure his weapons were set for his color scheme. I like that they made his like body part movements, like the way that his like parts change out, look very quick. I thought that was an improvement because like how he made weapons before, it was like it looked kind of slow and weird. Definitely an improvement, but at the same time, from somebody who's a fan of that said specific character, it was a little bit upsetting. As long as they get some of the really big cool parts of the arc animated and looking well, I'll be happy. Because even though it was a cool fight, it wasn't that important. Like Wall against Laxus. What's the next? I'm trying to think of the next big part that's coming up that I really want them to do well is when Jalal gets pissed off and his just like him flexing his like serious like power like completely coated this like it cleared out the sky in the middle of the day so you could only see like the night sky. It was just you could only see the stars and like the blackness of space. I thought that was really cool. That's one of the really good moments in this whole bit of the arc. I'm really hoping they get that part done right. Like it shouldn't be hard to do. Like all it really is they have to make sure should be a lot of cool effects just in space. Like just do literally just make it a black sky, stars, and a lot of that like cool like cosmic space energy you see in a lot of space movies, and just like making it look interstellar, I'd say, and then make the Grand Chariot scene look cool. That shouldn't be hard for them. I'm really hoping they make that part look really cool. There's only a handful of parts that I really want them to get done well. I didn't. Oh, yeah, let me see. What if I missed? Yeah, that's what I said. Rikito Sato barely gets any screen time. Meanwhile, for the males, which one is that? Which one is Rikito Sato? I'm trying to remember the characters. But well, the thing is, I definitely forget a lot of My Hero Academia characters' names all the time because usually I remember them by their superhero names. Which character is that? Is that Red Riot? No, Red Riot's name is what, Kirishima or something? I'm trying to remember. I only remember a couple characters by their actual name. Most of the time, like I said, I remember by their superhero name. And then you get something like the bird dude, and I only remember him by calling him Edge Bird. Let's see. You don't believe she needed a black? I don't. I didn't believe she needed a backstory during the 1A versus 1B. Yeah, I don't know why they needed it because people already knew it was a waste it was a waste of pages that could have been used for something else. It just had it was a reminder that took longer than it should have. Yeah, Toko Yami. I always just remember him as Edgebird. His part actually really like that part in the little skirmish arc with him actually really upset me because it should have been a really cool part. It should have been like a really cool spread because one of the things about him consistently is whenever he has like a really cool moment with his shadow, it looks badass. Like with I don't know the part where if I can when he had it in the forest and it was just like this big like chalky looking mass like walking around like caught it on. It looked like it wasn't even a full page. Like it didn't need to be a double spread, but it was just like a page for his way he learned essentially how to fly. And it's just like you got a character who somehow consistently when he's around gets some attention. He's shown he's got a lot of potential, and yet you barely give him any you barely give him any justice in that whole arc. I mean, the first two rounds were good. The first two rounds of that arc were good, and then it kind of leveled out at the third round, and then the last two rounds I thought were boring as hell. I thought they were super boring, and I wasn't really happy how they went out because it was the last two rounds were literally Bakugo and Deku's team steamrolling the shit out of the other team, which it was just like, what? Why are like it just shows that when they're actually going on strategy, like, okay, yeah, these characters compete with each other. But when it's just like, yeah, the talented, overpowered main character and his rivals just completely maul through everybody, we're just like, okay, thanks. I didn't like that. I got hopes for the next arc because obviously a lot of people have speculation on a prison break arc, which I think will be cool, and then it will also bring up a bunch of new villains that have been locked up all this time, which I think will be really interesting. Something though that I've realized at this point is I'm wondering if Bad Touch is ever going to equal out to anything because he's supposed to be being like built up as this villain, like this villain eventually. Yeah, Stain will be cool to see back, but Bad Touch, like I don't see him being a big villain along the line unless somehow he gets more powers. I don't know. I mean, it is possible because we know that All for One can do it. But unless he does that and he just starts giving the dude powers, I don't really see a way for him to really hold any large scale villain stuff because he doesn't seem that interesting. He doesn't his power is too overpowered, but at the same time way too specific. He has to have all the fingers on you, but if he gets you with it, you're fucked. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like while fighting Deku, it'll ever be a time where unless it there's never really going to be a time that he's going to get a hit in. Because if he gets a hit in, it's either Deku dies or he has to cut off a limb. And it just doesn't feel like he's going to like that fight is ever going to really happen. I don't know. It could. Maybe there'll be a time where All for One says, um, I need your power for something and takes it but gives him a different one. I don't know. There's always the possibility of something happening in the future, but I'm looking at it of what's going on now. I don't think a lot of people think about that when you give criticism because you have no idea what could happen in the future. Like it could always change. There's so many possibilities that writers could do. They could do anything they wanted at any point. Um, but if you never were allowed to criticize or complain about something where it's at, or it's like, when am I gonna fucking somebody back in frickin' 1998 is just like, I don't know how I feel about this part in One Piece, where it's like, hey, the series isn't over, you don't even know how that's gonna go. It's like, well, I guess you should wait till it's over before you don't know what's gonna happen, and then they'd still be like, I'm waiting. I gotta wait forever to say something. I gotta wait forever. Yeah, could you imagine like somebody like have a complaint about like fucking Berserk or Game of Thrones, and it's just like someone's like, you can complain about when the series ends, so you actually know whether or not your complaint was valid. It's just like you'll never get that chance. It's never happening. It's never gonna happen. How long have I been streaming? It's been like 2 hours. I'm probably gonna wrap it up in a second. Let me see. Tamura is being built up as, yeah, he is, but I don't see how exactly he's gonna have that same presence. Because the thing about All for One that makes him as as much of a big character for the villains, the fact that he can take away and give people powers. Like he could go beat a hero, take his powers away, and then find some random criminal who would make a really good person in there, but like they say they don't have a power, and then bam, you give him a power. Like the fact that he can take and give powers, I think is a really a really character defining trait of him that makes him such an important aspect of the villains. I just don't really see how Bad Touch can really live up to that from a villain standpoint. And obviously, like I said, that could change easy. That could easily change. I'm just looking from where it's at right now. I don't know. Either way, yeah, I'm gonna call it here. We'll talk more. Maybe I might do another stream. Maybe tomorrow. I might just play a little Jump Force. We could talk about stuff, but that's gonna be it for now. For those who, if you haven't picked a side yet, I'm hoping that that I stand with Vic's side can pull you over, because out of both of them, they're not like the Vic Pro side. It just wants there to be proof before they destroy somebody's life, and they're not the one faking evidence and having disgusting people like Mars Girdle, Jesse Pridemore, and Jamie Marchi on their side. But other than that, really appreciate. Okay, let me grab this real quick before I go. Who do you think? Let me grab this last. Speak of villains, kind of main villain do you think will get easier? Like I said, I don't know, because it feels so different. We have no idea what it's going to be. Well, Zareth, and I don't. No, I think he's going to be way different. I mean, the only thing I could really see being similar is having something to do with time, because Hiroshima really likes to do time-based, like large-scale stuff. But it depends. It really just depends, because we have no idea what the large-scale setting is. I think we kind of got it with Wraithmaster when we found out the relationship between the glories and the rare grooves, and then Fairytale we saw. We found out about the hit, like slowly being piece of bits with Zareth and his history in the world. So maybe once we start getting an idea of what could contend for a big villain in Eden Zero, like it could easily maybe a Ziggy. I don't know. I don't know. Other than that, like I said, if you haven't yet, hit the thumbs up button, and check out the channel. I'm gonna do a bunch of my chapter recordings today and tomorrow, and then set them up to release throughout the week. Anything like big and new about the Vic Mignogna case, I will try and make a video for. I don't want to do a ton of it. There's already a bunch of people covering it heavy. Only if it's really major, or anything really just that I just really want to talk about, I'll probably cover. Other than that, though, this is a good chat, good stream. I enjoy talking to you guys, and I'll talk to you all next time.